Soon after the extinction of the dinosaurs, and up until about 25 million years ago, sedimentary rock was being slowly deposited over Florida. In northern and central Florida, this limestone is near the surface, but in South Florida, the layers of this formation are at least 1,000 feet deep. This limestone is porous and full of water, and acts like a really hard sponge. We call this kind of formation an aquifer.
An aquifer can be defined as a formation of rock or sand that holds water. Florida's massive Floridan Aquifer is brimming with pure fresh water that is bottled by several companies.
But as the aquifer plunges deep under southern Florida, it becomes salty and undrinkable. This is not a problem because South Florida has another limestone layer sitting on top of the Floridan Aquifer. This is called the Biscayne Aquifer, deposited as recently as 100,000 years ago, when South Florida was still covered by the ocean. This limestone outcropping right here is actually where the Biscayne Aquifer meets the surface here in South Florida. Both the Floridan and Biscayne aquifers are charged by rainwater that slowly percolates into the limestone.
The Biscayne Aquifer is charged by that great sawgrass marsh called the Everglades. It provides the drinking water for Miami and the other cities of the coast. Life for the millions of people there would not be possible without it.
In northern Florida, the story gets exciting.
The water in many parts of the Floridan Aquifer is under artesian pressure, and when this water breaks to the surface, it literally gushes out of the ground. What this phenomenon creates for us is an artesian spring of great wonder and beauty. In fact, Florida has more artesian springs than any other place in the world. If the entire flow of the hundreds of North Florida springs were added together, the total would be a whopping 8 billion gallons per day.
Artesian pressure is created when there is a confining layer of low permeability above and below the aquifer, in effect sealing it off top and bottom.
Pressure builds when the point of recharge is higher in elevation than the point of outflow.
The Floridan Aquifer has exactly these conditions.
Giant springs like Wakulla Spring, just south of Tallahassee, gush hundreds of cubic feet of water every second. Many of Florida's springs flow into major rivers like the Swanee. These dark rivers, which are full of the tannin-stained runoff from woods and swamps, also receive the clean and colorless waters of the springs. Filtered through miles of porous limestone, the spring water makes a stunning contrast. Coming from deep in the aquifer, it is a chilly 72 degrees Fahrenheit all year long. Diving into the crystalline waters of a Florida spring can be a breathtaking communion with plant and animal life. You may see creatures you didn't expect to see. Over eons of time, weak carbonic acid in the water has dissolved long channels and fissures in the limestone. When one dives into the cavern of a large spring, he may enter a tunnel or web of branching tunnels that penetrate thousands of feet into the aquifer. Hundreds of divers who have not been properly trained in cave diving have died trying to explore these limestone mazes. They got lost, or perhaps their lights burned out, and eventually, in a state of panic, they ran out of air. A Florida spring is a place of intense geologic interest and great economic importance. But it is also a place of beauty, of mystery, and of danger.